My boss didn't want me to work late nights at the gas station because I'm the only girl on the team, and he thought it might not be safe. But I needed the extra hours, and I didn't let him stop me just because I'm a girl. Eventually, he agreed, but sometimes I wish I had stuck to my old hours. After working night shifts for about a month with my coworker Mateo, he got sick one night, and I had to handle things on my own. I didn't think it would be a big deal because I knew what to do. However, I was in for a surprise. The first customer that night was a young guy who was really drunk. He wanted to buy beer, and even though he was already intoxicated, he was legally allowed to purchase it since he was over 21. I sold it to him, hoping he'd quickly leave, but he stayed at the counter, trying to talk to me. There were other people waiting in line, and this guy wasn't moving. The person behind him had to push him aside to pay, giving me a little break. The guy who was really drunk came back again, even more drunk than before. When he opened the door, he looked like he might fall down. He went straight to get more beer and came up to the counter where I was, not mad at this time. I had to ask for his ID again, because it's the rules. He made a joke about wanting his name, but I had to explain it's just what the company asks for. He just laughed and didn't mind. I gave the guy his ID back, but he suddenly grabbed my hand, and it made me really uncomfortable. I tried to get away, but he wouldn't let go and started asking about when I finished work. I was really fed up with the situation, so I pulled my hand away and told him how much he owed for his drink. That's when he stopped smiling. He said I was rude, threw money at me, and muttered something about seeing me again next time. I was done with work, luckily with friendly customers. But I wanted to forget the whole day. When I was locking up and leaving, I saw a car still in the parking lot. I didn't think much about it until I heard someone walking behind me. It made me feel worried. I realized it was the person from the car coming closer. I reached into my bag for my self-defense spray and walked quicker towards my car. Suddenly, I heard his voice again, telling me to look back. Even though I felt something was wrong, I turned around. When I saw him trying to grab me, I used my spray on him. Then I hurried to my car, locked the doors, and drove away as fast as possible. He tried to open the door, but the spray made it hard for him, so I could get away. On my way home, I called the police and shared all the details. I also told my boss. I was relieved I managed to escape that night. I feel scared thinking about what could have happened if I hadn't. The person might have been waiting for me for a long time. After that night, I never saw them again, and I hope it stays that way. A week went by, and things seemed normal again. I was still working the late shifts, but it was calmer. I tried not to let the scary experience bother me, and life at the gas station went on as usual. Late that night, while I was almost done with my work, a car drove into the parking lot. It was the same person who had caused me a lot of trouble earlier, and it made me really scared. I wondered why he was back. Was he here to get back at me? I quickly hid behind the counter, feeling my heart racing. I heard someone approaching the entrance, and I got really tense. But when I peeked out, I saw it wasn't the same person. It was someone new, someone I didn't know. He looked okay, just like any other person coming to buy things. I cautiously stood up, keeping an eye on him while he walked around the store. He came up to the counter, holding a bag of chips, and smiled at me.
"Hey, sorry if I scared you,"
he said, seeing that I was a bit worried.
"I heard about what happened the other night. I just wanted to check if you're okay."
I was surprised. How did he find out? I hadn't told anyone except the police and my boss. "Who told you?" I asked quietly. He laughed a little nervously and scratched his head.
"Well, I work at the coffee shop across the street. I overheard the cops talking about it. Thought I'd come by and make sure you're all right."
I felt really relieved. This guy wasn't someone dangerous. He was just caring. I said thanks for checking on me, and felt much safer at work. Later on, the coffee shop guy named Alex started coming by a lot during my late night shifts. He'd get a snack, and we'd talk. It was nice having company during the quiet times. He told me about his job, and I shared stories about the interesting things at my gas station job. One night, while we were talking by the coffee area, he looked out the window suddenly.
"Hey, isn't that the guy from before?"
He asked, pointing to the parking lot. I got scared when I looked and saw the drunk guy standing by his car, staring our way. I felt really afraid again. "Why is he here again?" I whispered nervously. Alex looked worried too.
I'm not sure, but let's stay inside. I'll call the police just to be safe.
We went to the back of the store and Alex called 911. It felt really tense as we waited for the police to come. Outside, the guy seemed more upset. He walked around his car and looked at the gas station sometimes. When the police arrived, they talked to the guy, and it seemed like they were arguing. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but it looked serious. Finally, they put handcuffs on him and took him away in their car. After the police went away, Alex walked up to me, looking really worried. He said,
It seems he won't bother you again. They mentioned he has some serious issues with the law.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe what I heard. The person who scared me had done bad things before. If Alex hadn't been watchful and the police hadn't come, things might have been worse. After that night, Alex and I became friends. He kept coming by when I was working, which made me feel safer. It turns out he's really good at karate, and he offered to teach me some moves to protect myself. I was thankful for his help, so I said yes. Our friendship grew stronger. The gas station used to scare me, but with Alex there, it became a safe place. I felt more sure of myself and less scared. We worked the late shifts together, not just as coworkers, but as friends who looked out for each other. In the end, when Alex came into my life unexpectedly, it changed a scary time into a chance for me to learn and connect with someone new. As we dealt with the difficulties of working late shifts, I saw that even when things seem tough, unexpected good things can happen and help us find a better way forward. It began when my family wanted a new start. They bought a gas station, which was originally a Chevron, but turned into an ExxonMobil because of some contract issues. Our gas station is in a small Florida town called Grove City. Hey, I'm good at working with numbers, and something about being behind the counter makes me feel really confident. I spent 5 months training when I was 17. When I turned 18, I got the job officially, and I could run the whole place by myself. The place wasn't super busy, so there was no need for extra staff. That's why at the age of 18, I was the one in charge, even though I'm 5 feet tall and weigh 295 pounds. Even though I'm a big person, I often got approached by people. I used to be really shy, but when I started being more outgoing, I enjoyed the extra attention. I have a bunch of stories from my time working at the gas station, and I'll tell you some of them soon. My stepmom thought I should work the closing shifts, and some regular customers didn't think it was a good idea. But since I like staying up late, I actually like working the night shifts. Closing up at work wasn't too bad except for one thing. After I finished counting the money and turning off the lights, I had to go to each gas pump and throw away the trash. It made me feel a bit unsafe, but that's not what this story is about. One Friday night, around 9 p.m. a guy who seemed really drunk stumbled into the store. I could tell right away that he had been drinking, which wasn't uncommon in our area. Like many others before him, he took a quick look at me, and when he realized I was a young girl alone at the cash register, he smiled at me like a wolf and headed straight for the beer coolers. In his mid-40s, overweight and sporting a beard that seemed untouched by a razor for a while, he walked back towards me. With a friendly tone, I asked if he needed assistance, and he responded with a big grin.
Wow, is that a genuine offer? I can think of 1,000 ways you can help me.
I nervously chuckled and glanced down, feeling a bit embarrassed.
Guess how old you are?
He asked, sounding serious. It was a question I heard a lot, so I answered quickly. I'm 18, sir. He said,
Oh, you're legal now. Lucky me. You look amazing. Can I give you a ride home?
I was caught off guard and didn't know how to respond, so I pretended not to understand. Legal for what? I asked. He chuckled and said, Legal for anything, sir. I'm old enough to sell you lottery tickets and alcohol, but not much else. He laughed crazily.
I could buy alcohol anywhere, but I chose to come here. It feels like destiny. I was supposed to meet you.
I didn't say anything and kept feeling uneasy looking down. The person told me,
You shouldn't look down, especially someone like you. Let's get some beer, and you should come with me.
I laughed, trying to make it seem like a joke. Oh no, sir. I still have 2 more hours left in my work shift. He looked surprised when he saw me. Then, he moved his head from side to side, making it clear that we were the only people in the room. He said,
I'm the only customer here. Shouldn't you help me?
I furrowed my brow and asked, What do you mean? He leaned towards the counter and smiled at me. Nervously, I told him, Sir, you have to buy something and go.
Oh, come on. You act like you're super busy.
He chuckled. Before I could respond, another guy I know well walked in. He's a good-looking African-American with a bit of salt and pepper stubble on his face. He noticed the expression on my face right away and looked over at the joking guy. Without saying a word, he mouthed,
Are you all right, Victoria?
I shook my head to signal that I wasn't okay. He made a serious face, bought a Mega Millions lottery ticket, and quietly asked me if he should call the police. I nodded, and he got it without saying anything. He didn't need to explain. I could see from his eyes that he would call the police as soon as he left. The drunk man passed by me after the other person left.
Wow, that guy was being really rude,
He said, using a mean word. I was surprised and told him, Don't speak like that. He's a great person, and his skin color doesn't matter. The guy laughed and tried to kiss me. I quickly moved away and accidentally hit the counter, causing my phone chargers to fall to the ground. He sat on the counter, holding onto my Exxon shirt, laughing. Then, he tried to make me kiss him by pulling my head towards him. I yelled, totally freaking out, and he ended up on my side of the counter, holding onto me tightly. He put his hand under my shirt, and I hit him with my head. It really hurt, but he stepped back, cursing at me. Chaos only ended when the police showed up. They pushed the troublesome person against the counter, put handcuffs on him, and took him away. The person in charge told me that a guy couldn't come back to the gas station anymore. He shared his phone number in case something bad happened. The guy got taken away. My regular customers made sure I was okay. They left saying it was the least they could do. Later, my stepmom asked why I didn't call the police earlier, making it seem like I did something wrong. My dad didn't say anything and didn't look at me. I closed the store with just an hour left in my work. When I got home, I was really sad and cried quietly until I fell asleep. I never saw that man again. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. I've been driving around for a few years, going to school, and spending time with my friends on weekends. I'm 15 years old, and my older cousin Jake, who is 25, also does a lot of driving. He likes to go to parties, bars, and clubs on the weekends. One time, he was driving back home from a friend's college party and realized he was almost out of gas. Jake, who's a laid-back guy, was thinking about whether to get gas now or wait until tomorrow. But he figured he might forget, so he decided to stop at a nearby gas station. While he was filling up his car, he noticed something odd. The usually busy gas station was surprisingly quiet for a Saturday night. After filling up his car with gas, he decided to quickly get a snack inside the gas station. However, he noticed that the person working behind the counter seemed a bit strange. Unlike the usual gas station attendants we see in our city with their uniforms, this guy was wearing a black hoodie and sweatpants. Even though Jake was really tired and didn't really care, he told the attendant that he just wanted a snack. The attendant, without bothering to scan the item, said it cost $2. Jake gave him the money, and the attendant just put it in his pocket without thinking twice. Jake was a little confused, but he didn't want to cause any trouble, so he wished the attendant a nice night and left. As Jake was getting ready to leave the gas station, he heard someone yelling for help. When he looked back, he saw the person working at the gas station holding a gun and telling him to ignore the scream. Jake didn't waste any time. He quickly left, returned the gas pump, and drove away as fast as he could. He called the police, explained what happened, and told them where the gas station was. The cops quickly went to the place, but the fake gas station worker was gone. The actual worker was found tied up near a trash bin, shot in the leg, and knocked out with a pipe. Surprisingly, the one with the gun was the bad guy, not the real worker. A few weeks later, at a gas station in the nearby town, something similar happened. A couple's car was stolen while they were getting gas, and they never found it again. Jake couldn't stop thinking that it might be the same person, especially considering how often crimes were happening in their area. Jake went through a really bad thing in his neighborhood. The gas station had to close for a week because of it. Even after months, Jake kept thinking about whether the police caught the bad person. The details he gave weren't very helpful. The person wore a hoodie and a mask. Something scary happened to Jake and his family, making them really worried. They chose not to go to that gas station anymore, and just to be safe, Jake started carrying a small knife when he went out at night. It made them realize that even places that seem safe can become dangerous, especially at night. As the weeks went by, things started to get back to normal. Jake wasn't as worried anymore, and he started going to his usual places, still being careful, but not as nervous as before. One day after school, I chose to fill up my scooter at a different gas station, one that's closer to where I live. I didn't want to go to the one where Jake had that scary experience. This little gas station was always busy with people from the neighborhood, even though it was smaller. I parked my scooter, got the gas pump, and started filling up. While waiting, I saw a strange guy wearing a black hoodie and sweatpants by the store. It made me feel uneasy, and memories of what happened to Jake came rushing back, making my heart beat faster. I felt a bit worried when I saw a person wearing a hoodie while I was getting gas. I tried to calm myself by reminding that not everyone in a hoodie is a bad person. However, I still watched him closely until I finished pumping gas. When I went inside to pay, I made sure to stay away from the mysterious guy. The cashier, a nice older lady, noticed I was being careful and asked if everything was all right. I wasn't sure at first, but then I decided to tell her about Jake's experience. As I talked, she looked worried. She told me the gas station takes safety seriously and has good security. That made me feel a little better, so I left the gas station and went home. The day after I went to the gas station, I was really surprised when I heard the local news. It turns out that the gas station I went to got robbed the night before. The person wearing a black hoodie and sweatpants, the same one I saw, robbed the store. He asked for money and scared the cashier, but thankfully nobody got hurt. The police came later, but the criminal had already gotten away. I suddenly figured out a surprising part of the story. The danger wasn't just at one gas station. The bad person had also chosen another one near my home. This made me feel scared. I had almost been in a really unsafe situation the night before. Because of what happened, the neighborhood decided to make things safer. They had more police driving around and added better lights at the gas stations. It turned out the bad person was going after gas stations on purpose, especially at night when they're not as safe. Community worked together, shared information, and stayed alert to keep everyone safe. A few months later, the bad person got caught because the police and watchful citizens worked together. The gas stations in the area started doing extra things to keep everyone safe. People started feeling a little safer. The surprising turn of events made things better by making everyone more aware and improving community safety. Thinking back on what happened, I learned how crucial it is to be careful and watchful, even in places we know well. It wasn't just about gas stations. It taught me that danger can be anywhere. Jake, on the other hand, felt a bit better knowing that what scared him helped catch a criminal, making our neighborhood safer for everyone.